Who did you write the letter to?
I wrote the letter to death.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking at movies whose efforts outweighed their results.
Out? This time of night? Do you know where? It's kind of a matter of life and death.
Number 20. Natural Born Killers. As a filmmaker, Oliver Stone is known for being provocative in his commentary on modern society. But if there was ever a time to rein him in, it was here.
Mickey and Mallory Knox. I love you, Mickey.
Mallory?
Natural Born Killers stars Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis as murderous lovers who become folk heroes thanks to the sensationalist media. While there is validity to the point about the dangers of celebrity culture and the bloodthirsty pursuit of ratings, it's delivered so ham-fistedly.
They killed every customer in the place without hesitation.
It certainly doesn't help that the visual presentation is purposefully disorienting, making what could have been a meaningful examination of society turn into a 2-hour headache.
I'm a natural born killer.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor Ragnarok, the third film headlined by Chris Hemsworth's hammer-wielding superhero, is widely considered to be the best of its series.
Hulk, stop! Just for once in your life, don't smash! Big monster!
Much of this can be credited to director Taika Waititi successfully bringing a lighter touch to the MCU. Unfortunately, that didn't work nearly as well for the follow-up.
You really have to stop beating like this.
Call the axe.
You don't call the axe when you call the dentist.
The plotline, involving a villain known as Gore the God Butcher and Thor's ex, Jane Foster's cancer diagnosis, is far too serious for the pervasively jokey tone Waititi employs.
We're gonna sneak our way towards Stormbreaker, being very careful not to bump into any of those big shadow monsters. They're behind me, aren't they?
We don't think this movie should be completely humorless, but the balance is so skewered it's hard to care about the actual stakes.
Hey, is that the Necro Sword? That's cool. I've only ever read about it in stories.
And you know this is going to hurt.
What? Pain. What is pain? A construct invented by the weak. Okay, the first.
Number 18. Mother. Darren Aronofsky's go-for-broke directing style serves him well for some projects and not so well for others. Mother is squarely in the latter category.
He has one of those pictures of you in his luggage.
What were you doing in their luggage?
That's not the point.
Using the biblical story of creation as inspiration for a psychological horror film, Mother does have some genuinely unnerving moments. But the harder Aronofsky tries to overwhelm and shock, the less he delivers.
911, what is your emergency?
Can you help me?
Though stars Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem are as good as ever, they get lost in the midst of the Artur's misguided ambition. Mother, exclamation point and all, is a movie that demands your attention instead of earning it.
You know what? Life doesn't always work out the way you want it to.
You're right. Mine certainly didn't.
Number 17. The Lovely Bones. After successfully bringing The Lord of the Rings to life, it might seem fair to assume that Peter Jackson could handle any literary adaptation. That was disproven by his take on Alice Sebold's novel about a 14-year-old girl narrating from the afterlife after her death at the hands of her sadistic neighbor.
I have to go.
I don't want you to leave.
To say the least, this requires a delicate hand. And Jackson's take on this very sensitive material is far too sentimental. Depicting the afterlife with a plethora of special effects, he loses the sensitive tone of the source material and ends up with something rather distasteful.
You're dead, Susie. You have to leave.
I have to go home.
Though Saoirse Ronan delivers a typically excellent performance, she, along with the rest of the talented cast, can't save the Lovely Bones from Jackson's miscalculations.
What are you waiting for? You're free.
Number 16, Malcolm and Marie. How can you make a movie with two actors in one setting feel like it's trying way too hard? Ask Sam Levinson.
I promise you it's not a good idea. Let's just talk tomorrow.
But you're upset with me.
It's not that big of a deal.
I can't go to bed knowing that you're angry.
Malcolm, I promise you, nothing productive is going to be said tonight.
The Euphoria creator's attempt at an intimate drama falls flat thanks to his apparent allergy to subtlety. Made in secret during the COVID-19 lockdowns, it stars John David Washington and Zendaya as a director and his girlfriend, who stay up all night arguing and revealing uncomfortable truths.
Not only to reveal that in the end, you're just jealous.
I'm not jealous.
Yes, you are.
I'm not jealous.
Yeah, of course you are.
Malcolm, the feeling that I'm feeling right now is deeper than that.
It's melodrama with a capital M. And though Levinson's knack for visuals is apparent, he's betrayed by his script. Specifically, it's the overwrought dialogue that turns his characters into mouthpieces rather than people. We'd honestly rather just watch 106 minutes of Washington and Zendaya just talking than this pretentious mess.
You know what, Malcolm? I feel like once you know someone is there for you and once you know they love you, you never actually think of them again.
That's not true.
Number 15, Crash. Arguably, winning Best Picture backfired tremendously for Crash, as it put a magnifying glass on the film and its flaws. That said, you don't have to look too hard to see why it rubbed so many the wrong way.
Why do these guys have to be black? I mean, why?
Telling a series of intersecting stories about race relations in Los Angeles, it's self-important to a fault while also drastically simplifying an incredibly complicated topic.
You know, Maria, just once I would like to wake up and find these dishes in the cabinet.
Okay, si, senora. No problem.
It would be unreasonable to expect a movie literally called Crash to not get at least a little messy. But throwing so many elements together and leaving out the nuance results in a movie that feels more like a ham-fisted lecture than a work of art.
Do you understand me?
You want something from me?
Number 14, Southland Tales. How did Richard Kelly follow up the cult success of his mind-bending Donnie Darko? With this, which defies description.
Scientists are saying the future is going to be far more futuristic than they originally predicted.
Set in a dystopian U.S., Southland Tales mashes together an array of eccentric characters in a plot that's impossible to pin down. It's so confusing that even one of its stars, Justin Timberlake, admitted years later in an interview that he still didn't know what it was about.
I got soul, but I'm not a soldier.
But while many great films are purposefully abstract, this one suffers due to Kelly not knowing when to say when. Like its predecessor, Southland Tales found an audience after flopping in theaters. But even its defenders would have to admit it's decidedly extra.
The ocean is in control.
Number 13, Zoolander 2. Zoolander is a modern comedy classic with lovable characters and hilarious quotes.
What is this?
A center for ants?
Its sequel is, well, something of a dumpster fire. Released more than a decade later, Zoolander 2 brings back Ben Stiller and much of the original cast, but not the same humor and heart.
Oh! Come on! Hansel, stop! You got this! Yeah!
A major issue is the amount of celebrity cameos, with everyone from Katy Perry to Neil deGrasse Tyson in the mix.
Neil, I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
That's what I do. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
It's bigger, but definitely not better. And for every well-executed gag, there are so many that miss the mark. If there's ever a Zoolander 3, we hope Stiller scales things back considerably.
Think about it, man. This could be a sign.
What if it's a stop sign, Billy?
Number 12, Joker. Joaquin Phoenix earned a long overdue Best Actor Oscar for his portrayal of Arthur Fleck, a mentally ill man who will become the criminal mastermind known as the Joker. Though it takes place in the Batman universe, Todd Phillips' film is far more indebted to the work of Martin Scorsese, specifically Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy. But whereas most masterpieces went deep into their characters and their disturbances, Joker is surface level in its depiction of mental health, crime, and just about everything else.
No, I feel good. I stopped taking my medication.
It might impress someone who hasn't seen its inspirations, but if you have, it's painfully clear where it falls short of what it's aiming for.
Someone was killed today because of what you did.
I know.
Number 11, Vanilla Sky. 5 years after Jerry Maguire, Cameron Crowe reteamed with Tom Cruise for a decidedly different kind of movie.
I tried to see you, but your people wouldn't let me.
I didn't want to see me, okay?
Based on a Spanish film, Vanilla Sky is a surreal psychological thriller about a man whose sense of reality unravels following a car crash. Decidedly uncommercial for a mainstream film starring a superstar, it's admirable in some regards, particularly for its visuals and Cameron Diaz's standout supporting performance.
I'm Sophia.
Whatever.
Okay, we're gonna be together again. You're gonna forget about Juliana, and we're gonna be together. I'm not gonna be afraid of you anymore.
But when it doesn't work, it's pompous to the level of self-parody. Perhaps the best way to describe Vanilla Sky is a dream, one you can't wake up from soon enough.
And what is any life if not the pursuit of a dream?
Number 10, Passengers. Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence, and space exploration. Sounds like a recipe for cinematic gold and a stellar film, right?
Do you know what's going on? Nobody else from my row woke up.
Same for me.
So, what could go wrong? In Passengers' case, it's not so much about going wrong as it is about falling flat. While audiences had mixed responses to Passengers, most agreed that the story seemed too formulaic.
Evening. What can I get for you?
I'll have Manhattan, please.
Whiskey Rocks. Coming up.
Meanwhile, the acting, while not bad, just seemed bland, and it had an overall feel of been there, seen that. Add to this the fact that the flick was pretty much a box office flop in North America, earning just a little over $100 million on a reported $110 million budget. And this was one potentially explosive film that was just a big bomb.
Open country. Room to grow.
Now you're back to slogans.
Can't slogans be true?
Number 9, The Cell. Beauty is only skin deep, or in the case of this psychological thriller, screen deep.
Do you believe there's a part of yourself that you don't show anybody?
I think everybody has that side of themselves.
While many agree that The Cell was visually unique and stunning, the same cannot be said for the script. The premise of this movie is intriguing. A child psychologist goes into a serial killer's mind to help find a kidnapped victim. But the execution of the story took a backseat to the imagery.
You sound like your father.
He was nothing. He is nothing.
Maybe the visuals were meant to be a bit too over the top to help mask the plot holes and poor casting decisions that critics felt plagued the movie. But in the end, it was too much show, not enough tell.
4 and 20 blackbirds. Baked in a pie.
Number 8, Pirates of the Caribbean, At World's End. If any company knows how to extend, expand, and exploit a franchise, it's Disney.
Now we're being followed by rocks. Never heard that before. Oh. The road.
We aren't saying Disney doesn't make great movies. They do. But many felt that At World's End was just not one of the better ones.
You will listen to me.
Listen!
While it was 2007's most commercially successful flick, there were just too many extra characters, too much emphasis on Jack Sparrow's quirky antics, too many seemingly repetitive fight scenes, and let's not forget the confusing plot twist, all of which had audiences thinking the third installment of the Pirates series might have been best left at World's End. Or maybe pushed over it.
You know, the problem with being the last of anything, by and by there'll be none left at all.
Sometimes things come back, mate. We live in proof, you and me.
Number 7. The Green Inferno. Many directors try to push the envelope with their films, either by doubling down on the shock value, increasing the intensity of visuals, or broaching sensitive topic areas.
Alejandro, what is this? Why are they doing this?
They think we're the enemy. There's nothing we can do.
Eli Roth tried to do all of that in The Green Inferno, and the result was too much of all three. With many saying it missed the mark when it comes to being scary, Inferno instead placed all of its eggs in the gore basket, and those eggs were then broken into a bloody mess.
How long till they get here?
Probably 3 days.
3 days? How long lasts 3 minutes?
Most agree there was an overabundance of carnage and macabre, too much shock and not enough awe, all of which diluted instead of emphasizing the film's social commentary, disturbing intent, and impactful imagery.
You think the war on drugs is something real? You think our plane wasn't sabotaged?
Number 6. The Tree of Life. The exploration of human existence, the place of faith, and the role that relationships and experience have in shaping our identity aren't new themes for films to explore.
Accepts being slighted, forgotten, disliked.
However, this drama from visionary director Terrence Malick had people saying it relied too heavily on the philosophical and shocking, which in turn made the flick more convoluted than poignant.
You make yourself what you are. You have control of your own destiny.
The Tree of Life was well acted, and for many, offered thought-provoking questions about life and the understanding of oneself. But for others, the almost 2.5-hour runtime exploring nature and nurture was just plain boring and tedious.
Always you wrestle inside me. Always you will.
Number 5. Extremely loud and incredibly close. Real-life tragedies have long since found their way onto the screen, usually in the form of a heartwarming drama or emotional action film.
My father died at 9/11. After he died, I wouldn't go into his room for a year because it was too hard and it always made me want to cry.
In the case of this pick, the plot revolves around a young autistic boy who sets out on a quest to find the lock that matched the key that belonged to his father, who died in the World Trade Center on 9/11.
They were able to determine that the note must have been written in the 6th borough.
What did it say?
What a fantastic question. Let's find out.
The film adaptation of Jonathan Safran Foer's novel tells a unique story, but seems to focus too strongly on capitalizing on tragedy and using emotion to sway audiences. The end result is a film that many felt lacks sincerity and connection to the subject matter.
Why do you want to come in?
To tell you that I love you.
Number 4. Cloud Atlas. While we considered placing the 2015 space opera Jupiter Ascending here, we ultimately went with another Wachowski-directed sci-fi, 2012's Cloud Atlas, which looks at how the cause and effect of one's actions can impact the future.
Our lives are not our own. From womb to tomb, we are bound to others, past and present.
With multiple switching timelines, the events from each rippling into the others, as well as a message of how kindness or crime can impact everything, the movie is definitely complex.
And what if no one believes this truth?
Someone already does.
However, for many, it appeared to be too complex. Originally adapted from a 2004 novel by David Mitchell, Cloud Atlas shows that what works on paper doesn't always work on screen, making a little over $27 million at the U.S. box office on an estimated $128 million budget.
No matter what you do, it will never amount to anything more than a single drop in a limitless ocean.
What is an ocean?
but a multitude of drops.
Number 3. The Hateful Eight. When it comes to Tarantino films, people can expect 3 things: extreme violence, dark humor, and a healthy dose of fast-paced action.
Now throw out your pistol.
Go to bed. Bet he got another.
Now throw out your other pistol.
I ain't got another pistol.
The Hateful Eight offered 2 of the 3, choosing to emphasize over-the-top violence and humor. It also decided to include long, monotonous conversations between characters at the expense of action.
Like I said, friend, you got me at a bit of a disadvantage.
Keeping you at a disadvantage is an advantage I intend to keep.
Additionally, many felt the flick was trying too hard to recreate past successes and that less effort was made for an original and engaging storyline. Not to mention the fact that the movie hits an approximately 3-hour runtime, which had people thinking it was a whole lot of the same old thing.
Precautions must be taken because life is too sweet to lose.
Number 2. Collateral Beauty. Many people wish they could communicate with or understand different parts of the universe.
I know you don't believe me, but you have to trust me.
Trust you? Trust you?
Yes.
I did trust you.
So it's no surprise to come across a film that tackles what would happen if love, time, and death were able to answer you back. The movie was set up to give emotional insight into how beauty can come from turmoil and how people can learn lessons they never expected while striving for another goal.
Hello?
Hi.
In concept, Collateral Beauty is great, but in reality, it was cheesy and had so much schmaltz that audiences could barely choke it down. The plot seemed contrived and came across more as a movie of the week than a tale for the ages.
Got it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Suicide Squad. This much-awaited flick was loud, flashy, and went for all-out mayhem. Maybe a little too much mayhem, all things considered.
Love your perfume. What is that? The stench of death?
While the movie did satisfy the cravings of some, especially the Harley Quinn fanbase, many others found it hollow, unevenly paced, graphically displeasing, and devoid of the essence of the Squad from comics.
Would you die for me?
Yes.
That's too easy. Would you live for me?
Meanwhile, the story seemed erratic and lacking at the same time. Oh, and this wasn't the first DC flick that didn't live up to the hype. We're looking at you, Batman vs. Superman. With a heavy emphasis on one-liners, music video-esque scenes, and hit-or-miss performances from the cast, Suicide Squad would likely have benefited from a little less style and a lot more substance.
We weren't picked to succeed, you know that, right? We were all chosen to fail.
Yeah, I know that. Worst part of it is they're gonna blame us for the whole thing.
What movie do you think needed some serious scaling back? Let us know in the comments.
Admit it? Even you've thought about it?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.